Taking a first look at a new Fenix light. At least I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Figured I'd turn the camera on here and film it. Yep, that's what I thought. The new Fenix MC10. Their angle light. Came from Fenix Outfitters. It's a pretty interesting one. We've been waiting for this one for a while. Sort of a task light. They're showing that you use it in a tent, hang it on the tent, use it on a headlamp, or a head strap as a headlamp, use it for hiking, for reading, again for tasks and things. So we've been waiting a while for this one. It's just under 60 bucks. Uses one AA battery. So we're looking at a clamshell here, held together with some tape. There's a card. We've got a warranty card here. We've got the user's manual. Pretty basic. Push buttons on top. Takes one AA battery. Says that it wants an alkaline. Talks about the materials. That it weighs 53 grams without the battery. That it's waterproof. Tells you how to use it. Turn it on, double tap to turn between modes. Then how to use it in its different modes. And then there's a quick little catalog, I guess you could call it, little information about some of the other lights that Fenix offers. Then it's got a little carry strap, a wrist strap, and a diffuser lens, which just sort of clips on to the ridges here, I'm assuming. Yep. And then creates a nice diffuse beam, I'm assuming. It says it wants one alkaline battery, so we'll grab one of those. I'm just going to use a store brand here. It's got an aluminum cap. Seems pretty sturdy, pretty substantial. It's got some ridges, so it's easy to open. Aluminum body with a polymer kind of gripped texture to it. So I'm assuming you push the button, and that's what we do. Let's go ahead and turn off some of these lights. So it's got a couple of different modes. And I guess we'll take a look at those. It's got 5 lumens, 50 lumens, and 125 lumens. Then it's got a strobe and an SOS mode. Says it's all digitally regulated. So we'll take a look at the light here in a moment, but let's go through the modes, since that's what most of us care about on a light. So if you turn it on, you're in its low mode. And that would be the 5 lumens, which it says will give us 65 hours on one AA battery. Now if you want to switch between modes while it's on, you just hold the switch down for a moment, and now it went to its medium mode, which is 50 lumens, which it says we have 5 hours out of one AA battery. And now we can go up to the high level by holding down the button again for a moment. The high mode is 125 lumens, and it says we should get 1.2 hours of runtime on this 125 lumens. That's pretty good. So if we want to cycle through, just hold the button down again and it'll go to the low 5 lumen, 50, 125. Just shining it back in my face here, it's definitely bright at 125. Now for me, I'm thinking of using this as a task light, so it's going to probably stay in this 5 lumen mode. But let's see, so in other words, when I turn it off and turn it back on, it's going to stay in 5 lumens. But let's say this was an emergency light, or it was a light for a caver who wanted bright light. So I'm going to turn it on, and it's going to be at 5 lumens because that's where it was last turned off. But now I'm going to cycle up to the medium level, and I'll leave it on for just a moment or two. And now when I turn it off, it's going to remember that it was turned off at the medium level, and it's going to turn back on to that medium level. So next I'll toggle it back to the low level, If I leave it on for any length of time, turn it off, turn it back on, it'll be at the low level. If I toggle back up to the high level, leave it on for any length of time, turn it off, it's going to remember that it was turned off at the high level, and it'll turn back on at the high level. And then I'll toggle back to that low level where I'd rather keep it. Then it's got a strobe. It's got two different blinking modes, a strobe, a fast strobe, and then a SOS mode. It's probably in strobe mode now. It is. So the way that you access that is you turn it on and then you double tap it. So now it's in strobe. If I want to toggle over to the SOS mode while it's in strobe, I'm just going to hold and press, and now it's gone to its SOS mode. And it's a fairly decent speed for an emergency. It's fast enough to get someone's attention, and it happens in a fast enough cycle that people are going to understand that it's SOS. I assume. I haven't really watched it long enough here, but I'm guessing it's going to work pretty well as a signal one. So if I wanted to toggle back to the strobe, I just hold it down, and then wherever you leave it on, wherever you turn it off, that's where it's going to come back on. So if I want to go back to strobe and then toggle back to SOS and then turn it off, now when I turn it back on and then toggle back to strobe, it's now in that SOS mode. So pretty smart light, pretty efficient. I like the fact that it uses just one AA battery, and what I'd like to do is replace this brand new store brand alkaline. I'm going to put in one that doesn't work in the cameras anymore, an lithium. And I'm curious to see if I'm going to get any extra use out of my lights, or out of my batteries. Looks like the 5 is working just fine. Looks like 50 probably isn't quite so bright as 50 was with the new battery. Well, I can get light from this battery, but it's obviously, this is its high mode. It's not going to give me the 125 lumens that the brand new battery will, but it looks like, again, as an emergency light, I'm going to be able to suck all the batteries life out of these different batteries when they come out of my cameras and out of my other electronic devices. And that's one of the reasons I like the AA LED lights, especially as task lights. Again, you're going to get as much use as possible out of those batteries. It's also nice when you have rechargeables, because you can let the LED drain every little bit, last bit of juice before you recharge them. So I'm going to put back in that good battery though, and we'll turn some of these lights back on. So we saw how it performs. I'm pretty impressed with its brightness level. Definitely adequate for the kind of tasks I have in mind for it. Taking a look at the light itself. Four inches long, about 2 inches wide at the bulb. With the battery, with an alkaline battery, it's coming in at 2.6 ounces, so under 3 ounces. It's on a flat surface here, no problems. You can aim the light up or down. On the top here, it's all aluminum. The joint here looks like it's high strength polymer back here. The button is real solid. It doesn't click, but it moves enough to know that to let you know that you've moved it. There's a loop here for a wrist strap or a lanyard. There's this clip here, which I suspect would be good for some purposes, but it's not super secure and it's easy to remove, so I'm probably going to go ahead and remove it for our use. And then it's got this clip which is able to spin around. It spins, but it's not exactly easy to remove, so it doesn't look like it'll fall right off. I did notice though, when you pull on it, it does sort of slip in the track there, so it may not be the best for heavy use, but it's also not letting go. This part is fairly strong, so even though it moves a bit, it's not letting go. Again, the body is aluminum with this sort of plastic textured material. So now we're going to try the MC10 with its diffuser lens that comes with it, and it's sort of a strong plastic with a hinge that uses a metal pin, so it looks like it's going to have a lot of life. Just sort of uses tension to clip around the last line on the sort of the shape of the aluminum lens here. Comes down and flips into place right in the front. And now we'll go ahead, and this is on its low setting. There's the beam, and I'm going to flip the lens down, and you can see the beam sort of dissipates. You know, it sort of disperses the light out there. Here's it with the lens up, lens down. I don't know if that makes any difference. This time I'll point it straight at the camera. Again, I'm not sure if it makes a big difference. Now when we'll toggle up to the medium, and with the diffraction lens, and then we'll toggle up to the bright, and again with the lens without. Here in the room it's hard to tell. It definitely reduces the spot, but I'm not sure how much it diffuses it out to the rest of the room. So you take it off of there, and I can't say that it's something, you know, if it attached to the base or somehow attached to the side and stowed out of the way, I would think it might be a bit more useful. I guess I could stow it like this and it wouldn't be too much in the way, but which is what I might end up doing depending on where this one lives. But it would have been nice if they would have had some sort of built-in system to stow this. Potentially I could clip it on like this, but then it's going to cover the button. You know, it's just a little bit too fragile. I don't want to just leave it by itself in a kit or something. So I'll have to play with that a little bit. Try to come up with some way of stowing that diffuser when I'm not using it. And overall, I'm pretty impressed with it. It's, like I say, just under 60 bucks. I think it's worth the price, at least in my initial testing of it here. I'm assuming it's going to be as rugged as the other Fenix lights that I've had, and we'll do further reviews on it as we use it. But until then, this is our first look at the new Fenix MC10.